Hi guys, and welcome to another review, and a TV series review at that. It has been a while since I did one. The last TV series review I did was for the Dracula miniseries on Netflix, which I absolutely hated. And the only other time I really kind of do TV series reviews is on my Patreon for my series TV Time. Now, as you can see today, I'm talking about season 2 of A Discovery of Witches. Now, I reviewed the pilot for season 1 back in 2018 because I loved it so much I just had to talk about it. And I was really just gonna save my thoughts for my other Patreon series, What I Watched This Week. And I talked about it, but yeah, here I am with the review, so how about I just dive right into it and give you my thoughts on season 2 of A Discovery of Witches. A Discovery of Witches is a British fantasy television series based on the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness and named after the first book in the trilogy. The series is directed by Juan Carlos Medina, Alice Trutton, and Sarah Walker, and written by Kate Brooke, Tom Farrelly, Charlene James, and Sarah Dollard. The series follows Diana Bishop, a historian and witch who accesses a book called Ashmole 782 and knows she must solve its mysteries. She's offered help by the enigmatic Matthew Claremont, but he's a vampire and witches should never trust vampires. I watched the second season over a week ago and I still haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I had no intention of doing a review for it, but if I can't stop thinking about something, that's usually a strong indicator I should review it and share my thoughts, at the very least to get them out of my head. My biggest thought is how much I absolutely adore the second season. Now, season 1 aired in 2018 and was renewed for a second and third season, with each season focusing on a book in the All Souls trilogy, but I've had to wait until 2021 for season 2 and the wait has killed me, but fortunately it did not disappoint me and more than lived up to the hype. Season 2 picks up right on from the final moments of season 1, with Matthew and Diana time traveling back to the 1500s to help her find someone to teach her how to use her magic, and so they can seek out Ashmole 782 in its undamaged state. I love seeing the switch from a modern day show to a show that has become a period show and yet still manages to have that modern air while trying to keep in tune with the era they're depicting. I adore the costume designs for this season. They were stunning to look at, and Teresa Palmer and Matthew Good pulled them off so effortlessly. I love how there is so much history tied to Matthew's character, and so through him we get to see and learn about moments in history, and at the same time it helps us learn about Diana too, because being someone who loves history as much as she does, it allows us to see her knowledge and excitement, so it's a brilliant way for both characters to shine. The performances in this are so great, and Palmer and Good have such amazing chemistry. Now, the book did have people making comparisons to Twilight, which the author said was merely a coincidence because she hadn't read them prior to writing her story, and I'm inclined to believe that based on the significant differences. But I can understand why people made that comparison. There are a lot of similarities, and I found most of those similarities to be found in season 2, specifically the progression of Diana and Matthew's personal story and relationship, but I have some theories about that. So again, I don't think Deborah ripped off Twilight, and I don't feel this is an adult version of Twilight as it has been described. I wouldn't, in all honesty, compare the two, and I'm saying this as a fan of both. I think all the film/books events have a greater purpose. Many, I think, are ordained by prophecy or fate, plus I'm of the firm belief that it is possible for two people to share the same or similar ideas and neither having copied the other. As they say, great minds think alike. In season 2, we see Diana and Matthew reach new levels in their relationship. We see Diana learn more about her powers and, to a degree, her purpose. We learn more about the magical world in general, and Diana gets to learn more about her past, specifically her parents. Same is true of Matthew. We learn more about him, his own personal demons that he's battled over the years, and we learn more about his life before Diana. We are introduced to many new characters, some of which were only mentioned in passing in the first season. Now in this season, get to have their time on screen, and we get to learn more about them and see how they interact with our leads. We get to meet some historical figures, which is fascinating to see how this show tackles that, and we also get to learn a bit more about this specific magical world. Now, I did find myself with more questions than answers at the end of this season, but I know I'm going on a journey and the audience learns things as the characters do, so clearly everything is culminating to the final season where all will be revealed. We meet some new characters, an exciting, exuberant relative of Matthew's who I hope to see more of in season 3 because he was an absolute delight, one who is still a mystery and clearly has a bigger role to play in the 3rd season, a young child who I assume was written in the books and is why they are in the show, but frankly I don't think should have been included, and I think it was such a random addition to have. It wasn't well fleshed out, but more importantly it just didn't make sense to have at all, and this counts for the book too, even though I haven't read it. It honestly made me rather annoyed with Diana and Matthew traveling into the past and changing so much and leading very real lives. It just seemed unwise and a little selfish to me. Another new character is just kind of there, and I'm unsure what she brings to the table, but I assume she was also in the books, hence why she's here, and others who are connected to our central characters, but so far haven't had a bigger role to play, such as meeting Matthew's sister. But she felt like a throwaway character. She didn't feel like she had to be there or that she had anything to offer the story, so I wonder if she was only there because they needed to introduce her before season 3. I have to admit the way the season switches between the events set in 1590 and the events set in 2018 were not well executed. We might spend an entire episode focused on Diana and Matthew and then in the last 5 minutes switch over to see what's happening in the present time, and it feels so out of place and it makes me go, oh yeah, I forgot this existed. So every time it switches to the present I was almost confused because it would happen so rarely. Despite this being a season where Diana has travelled to 1590 to master her powers, I felt this season had less magic in it than the first season, to be honest, which I thought was odd. I expected with Diana coming into her powers more we would see far more magic, see vampires using their abilities a tad more, and 2 seasons in I still don't have a clue what demons can do, if they can even do anything. I'm still unsure what makes a demon, and Google was of no help to me in figuring that one out. I felt season 2 focused far more on expanding the characters in the universe and diving into the many relationships and histories of its characters, which, don't get me wrong, I very much enjoyed as it gave so much more emotion to this season. I found myself crying a few times, either from sadness or happiness, and it was fantastic. I just wish that I had felt or seen more depictions of Diana's magical growth, because she's going to return to the present and be able to do this and that, and yet I don't feel like I ever saw her learn that much. I also found it hard to gauge how much time had passed. Now I'm going to assume they had been in the past for months because they arrive in 1590 on All Hallows Eve, and when they decide to leave it is now 1591, unless that was a typo. I can never be too sure, but how much time was between episodes was hard to figure out, even harder than the first season. In season 2 we may form new bonds with new characters, but we're also going to have to say goodbye to someone. I won't spoil who, and if you've read the books then I'm sure you know, but it was good. It shows us the severity of what is going on, how much is at stake, and how dangerous the bad characters are, such as the murderous witch Peter Knox and status-hungry vampire Javert. It's good that we finally feel that sense of enormity over what is happening, which is added to by the inclusion of a new villain whose motives for the time being are unknown, but it just makes me all the more eager for season 3. Season 2 saw very little of the witch Satu. We saw plenty of her in season 1. In season 1 she learned she is a weaver, which is a witch who is able to create their own spells, and we see her briefly going back home to learn more about being a weaver, but then that's it. We don't see her again until the final episode of the season, so we have no idea what she's been doing or what she's learned. I still don't even understand her motives. What does she want? Why did she join the congregation? She's a powerful character that is such a mystery, and not in an interesting way, and because of that I have zero interest in her. I feel like she and Diana will inevitably go toe to toe again, being they have many of the same abilities, with Diana having slightly more than Satu, and seeing as how Diana is the main protagonist who is a prophesized witch, I would assume she's the more powerful of the two. I thought we'd learn more about Satu, but we ended up forgetting all about her, and so now I just don't care about her, and I barely cared about her to begin with. She hasn't been a well-written character at all. Honestly, my only big complaint about this season is the way it uses the exact same shot to show us when the scene is set at the base of the congregation. Throughout season 1, when we would cut to this scene, we would see a shot of Venice from the water and then a boat going through an invisible force field, which would reveal the location of the congregation's base of operations, hidden within a secluded piece of land. The first time it was cool, second time was alright, after that it was just getting annoying. Like, we get it, the place is invisible to the rest of the world and only magical creatures can enter. They used this shot almost every time a scene took place at this location, and it was getting so damn annoying. So I was so disappointed that going into season 2, that even though we rarely had scenes in the present, when a scene by chance was set at this location in Venice, they did that same opening shot again, and I think I started throwing things because it was so infuriatingly repetitive. Find something else, or better yet, just do it once in the season, but not every freaking time. I rewatched season 1 before watching season 2, and I'm glad I gave myself a refresher course. It did come in handy. I would recommend others doing that as well. For example, rewatching season 1, I realized in the first episode when Diana thinks she hallucinates bumping into her dead father at the library, she wasn't hallucinating it, since in season 1 we learned her father was a time walker, meaning he can walk through time. Ha! Funny that. It was clear that she actually did bump into her father while he was time walking, whether he was there studying, observing, or making sure Diana came into contact with Ashmole 782. I'm not sure, but I'm leaning towards the latter based on more of what happens in season 2. I have so many more questions. I'm dying to see how this story plays out, and knowing it only has 3 seasons honestly breaks my heart because I want this to go on and on and on. I know each season is based on a book in the trilogy, and there are obviously only 3 in it, but I'm loving it so much and I want to see so much more, so I know I'll be devastated when it comes to an end. Aside from A Discovery of Witches being my absolute favourite current TV show about witches, not only for its way of combining history and magic, but its different depictions of magic, but more importantly, how it uses its fantasy elements to depict and discuss very real world and social issues. The way certain people want a segregating of the species, the way certain species think they are the superior species, the way people don't want interspecies relationships, and more. Change the word species to race and it's not hard to see the influences. And I think it's a great way to tackle this very serious issue without audiences feeling like it's being shoved down their throat. It's not exactly subtle, you'd have to be pretty thick to miss it, but it doesn't feel like it's bashing you on the head with it either, which allows you to enjoy the story more. I love the show's natural depiction of same-sex couples and gay characters, having them so organically integrated into the story with no one bringing it up or drawing attention to it like in other shows. The best way to normalize these characters is to do what this show does, which is treat them like everyone else. You normalize something by not writing characters constantly coming along and drawing attention to it and pointing out that there is something different or wrong with it. You just let them exist, and I couldn't be happier. I can't wait to see how my theories pan out, and again, I'm very sad that the end is so close, but looking on the bright side, this show has introduced me to so many amazing actors, and it has made me realize how much I adore Teresa Palmer and how I think she might be my favourite Australian actress now. I mean, between December Boys, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, I'm Number 4, Lights Out, Berlin Syndrome, Ride Like a Girl, and now this, yeah, I kind of love her, and I can't wait to see more of what she does in the future, and that goes for all the actors in this series. All the episodes of season 2 were released on January 8th, which is when I watched them, but you can catch the episodes each week on Sky One in the UK, or wait to see where it is in your country, because I have no idea. Anyway, those are my thoughts on season 2 of A Discovery of Witches. Like I said, I can't wait for season 3, which, according to the internet, is possibly going to release at the end of this year, which would be so amazing if I don't have to wait till 2022 to see season 3 and I can get it this year, like, yes! But then at the same time, I'm like, oh no, it's gonna end and I'm not ready, I'm not mentally prepared. I mean, I've been dying for season 2 for years. And when it's like, oh, you can watch every episode right now, I'm like, I can and I will, and I'm doing it right now, thank you. And I binge watched every episode in a single day. I'm not kidding, I watched them all in a single day, and this was right after I just finished watching every episode of season 1 in a single day, and I was so engrossed in that universe that I had the most depressing come down when I finished the final episode of season 2. I was just like, I started to have anxiety because I'm like, no, I'm not ready, no, it's the one thing that is my struggle with any TV show in general. Movies, they can come to an end and I'm okay with that. It doesn't affect me as much. Maybe a franchise affects me a little bit, but no, usually not, because it feels like that's inevitable. But with a TV show, you have so many episodes and you spend so long, you know, connecting with these characters, connecting with this story and following it for, you know, not just like days or weeks, but years, that it becomes a part of you. And so when it ends, it is so depressing. And yeah, it becomes like really bad, depressing withdrawal. So I am not looking forward to going through that at the end of season 3. But alas, there is nothing I can do unless people like want a petition. Can they like do a season 4 and Deborah Harkness can instruct them on where they should go after those events to continue it? I would be okay with that and I would sign that petition. But anyway, that is it for this review. If you are interested in seeing me review more TV shows, some that are completely kind of unknown and others that are a bit more popular, you can check out my TV Time series on my Patreon. If not, you can just wait for this sporadic chance where I might post one on my YouTube channel. We will see. But that's it for this video. Thank you as always to my amazing patrons. Don't forget to comment down below and share your thoughts on A Discovery of Witches, thoughts on season 1, thoughts on season 2, and things you're looking forward to in season 3. But that is it. I am done. I shall see you all in the next one. So until then, bye guys.